Hey, this is Lili Berry back again for the faction. Today, I'm chatting to Terra, who just released their new EP, Reverie. The 6-track release is full of bangers. I haven't stopped listening to it for the last week, and I cannot wait to chat this through with vocalist Cassie Jade and bass player Darcy Ledoux. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Guys, this EP is so unreal. I know this has been a really long time in the making for you. So how do you feel now that it's finally out there?
Oh so God. Good. Yes. It's awesome. We're so stoked.
When was Wasted Days released?
Like our last EP.
Yeah.
Like
2015 or 17 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, we haven't like released a full EP.
This feels like this feels like the band's first EP, honestly.
It technically like is like, because we've got all like new members now except for me. You know, it is kind of like our actual first thing together, which is so nice. And yeah, it's so rewarding. Like it's just felt so good to finally get everything out there.
Like the response, like everyone has really nice words to say about it, and it seems to be doing way better than we thought. So yeah, so stoked.
Yeah,
I'm so happy to hear that. Honestly, I was not expecting the heavy lyrics. The whole EP just feels like a huge journey. I put song 1 on and Wishful, like it honestly had me crying straight away. And then there was 4 songs where I'm like rocking out. And then it comes to Wasted Life. And I'm crying all over again. Talk me through that writing process. Like I can imagine it was quite therapeutic to some extent.
Yeah, like it really was. And I think like, you know, those songs were like wrote over time. So I think we kind of ended up choosing like the most passionate or emotional ones. And yeah, it was just like, you know, every time I sat down to write, it was really just, like you said, like therapeutic. And I usually, when I start to write lyrics, I sit down at the piano, and that's kind of, you know, once I strip it back, it's easier to write from a place of feeling it more than thinking about it. So, yeah, and so it really is just a bit of an emotional roller coaster. Even the angry songs, like, you know, it's just all like raw emotion, and it's I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good to have those.
We don't really write that many happy songs, so
we're working on it. We're trying to write some happy songs.
Yeah,
but you got to get the real emotional stuff out first, I think, before you can dig into, you know, finding your happy place.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge way for like fans and listeners to connect anyway. Like when you're that open and that emotional, like it just forms a type of connection that you maybe don't get straight away when you're releasing happy songs. It's kind of like happy songs is where you get to, but you kind of got to start somewhere.
Yeah, totally. And I think like, you know, I think a lot of people gravitate towards music to release those kinds of emotions. And I think that's kind of my goal. Like, you know, I know a lot of musicians are like, oh, I write for the fans and stuff, but I like, honestly, it's a bit selfish, but I write for myself. Like when I'm writing something, I'm like, I want to be able to feel this, but I almost feel like if I feel that way, there's going to be one person out there that will feel, you know, something from what I write. So I think that's kind of the connection, right? Is like, you know, it's my feelings that translate over to someone else's life and someone else's story. And I think that's pretty amazing.
I couldn't agree more. And especially after the last 2 years, like listening to Wasted Life, where it's got that line, like we all get sick sometimes. It's just like, it's super duper relatable. There's also this one part in Wasted Life where you sing a line from each song. Like to me, that is so genius.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite moments on the EP. Have listeners picked up on that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think like a little bit, yeah.
We haven't had many people like talk about. Every time we talk to someone, they're like, "Oh my God, I was crying so much," like you said, like, you know, which is awesome. Like, you know, I feel like that's a good thing. But yeah, I think people have noticed like the themes and like patterns we like, you know.
Yeah, a lot of the feedback that we're getting is like similar than a lot of stuff about the themes and the vocals and the lyrics, which is really cool to see. That's like people paying attention and like digging a bit deeper into like what's there, which I didn't expect. I kind of thought it was just like, oh cool, they're nice songs, would be the general feedback. But I mean,
bass.
Bass for me, like, and a lot of the instrument boys in the band, we just write the music and then collaborate with Cass. Like all the vocals and all that stuff kind of is a little bit separated from us. And so it's cool to like see people responding to that really well as well.
I love it. And look, there's still people that are going to listen and be like, nice songs. And there's a really large amount of people that paid for the EP and bought it before they even heard any of the songs.
Yeah.
You guys did this mammoth pre-order with AVVC and it sold out. How's that felt for you to have such a mammoth success there?
I think we were just a bit like,
yeah, it's like we're still in shock. Like, honestly, it was crazy. We were like, I always have this thing when it's like, because, you know, we can see like how many people listen to our Spotify at one time. And then the live stream that we did yesterday, like, you know, how many people rocked up to that. Every time this happens, I'm like, who are you that are like listening to us? Like, why do you care so much? It's probably a bit aggressive, but yeah, it's like, it's still so mind blowing. And to think, I don't know how many vinyls there were, but there were like, it
was like 120 or 150.
Yeah, like what? Like
and
who bought them? Like I'm so
I did. I bought one.
Did you get the pink one or the splatter?
I got the splatter. I'm a sucker for the splatter. But
like I like
that. Like it's not even just going for like the splatter or buying a vinyl for you guys. Those guys in AVVC have such a huge reach. I feel like they've done a lot of, you know, their splits and things like that. But this was the first, I guess, pre-order campaign that you guys collaborated on together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, we're all so happy with the way that turned out. And amazing. Like, we totally thought that Vilify sold most of the singles
when we
that
did
we did with them. We were like, oh yeah, they sold out because Vilify is good. And
Vilify are great, don't get me wrong.
And I still firmly believe that. And then we did this and we did 150 and we're like, yeah, okay, so we'll have enough when we're touring to have some on the road, we can sell them, it'll be fine. And then it was like within 2 weeks or something like that they're all gone. And we're just like,
we just weren't sure if we could kind of like hold our own with that kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that was really surprising and really like just like the coolest thing ever. And I know like personally growing up, like when I was like, I want to be in a band and stuff, I like never thought of like having a vinyl. So it was kind of like this weird goal that I didn't ever think about. And then, but when we got there, I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, and it really hit me. So
I have seen you guys live a lot. I've been friends with Sean for over 5 years now. I always try to get to your shows whenever I can. Cassie, I have never ever seen you miss a note. Like your vocals are unreal and so solid every time. I want to ask, like, where did performing and music start for the both of you?
Funny story. I was big into games when I was a kid, and we had a copy of Guitar Hero 3. And I remember distinctly at this one point, like I was doing a versus battle with my older brother and I beat him and he was like, give me a sec. And then he walked into his room and he had like hurt his wrist or something. And he like through school learned to play guitar and bass. And so he was like, he just gave me his guitar and he was like, take this. And then I was like, I didn't even want it at the start. I was like, I don't know
this story. Yeah. This is so cute.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do it. And then I started doing lessons and I found this amazing teacher who I'm still in contact with today. And then it just kind of like went up from there.
Cassie, what about you?
I think performing honestly still isn't something that I'm 100% comfortable with. Like I've always been kind of reserved and shy. I'm a lot better now, but like growing up, I remember like looking at like the drama kids, like the actual people that were like enthusiastic performers and being like, oh my God, I could never be like that. So it's pretty wild that I'm where I am now and I can get up on a stage and not like lose my mind. But you know, I've always had this like huge love of music, like since I was little. And my grandma, she was like a singer, not like a professional singer, but she's like a really good singer at home. And so she'd always encourage me to like sing songs with her and stuff growing up. I did do little performances like a kid would do, like they get a little stool or something and then stand up and like sing to the family. I loved doing that when I was a kid.
Christmas Day, like family performances.
And yeah, and then just growing up, I think like this is kind of weird, but my major influence for, I guess, performing like wanting to like do something and like take it and show people is Hannah Montana, because I would be 12 years old. Yeah, I'd be 12 years old in my room dressed in like sequin dress, like with a belt tied around, and then just be like, you got the best of both worlds, you know, just like rocking out. That's actually legitimately where I learned how to belt. And for ages, I couldn't even like do like a head voice because it was all just like country chest voice to belting. And like I was still stuck in my head voice because I've just been belting for so long, singing Hannah Montana songs. So yeah, I think that's really like, honestly, Hannah Montana was where I'm like, oh my God, she's so cool. She's on stage singing, like, you know, freaking out as like a tween. So
yeah, shout out Miley Cyrus.
yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, speaking about getting on the big stage, you mentioned it before, Cassie, you guys both performed as the band at Night and Day Festival. What was that experience like for you? Because as far as I know, that's the biggest stage you've ever performed on, right?
Yeah, Cass will have to talk about that because I was absent for that.
Yeah, true.
I was in the computer.
Yeah, he was. He was.
No, you missed out on the heat and the COVID.
I know. So I dodged the COVID, which was great, but the stage looked so amazing, and it was
actually insane.
I was looking at the stories of it, and I was just like shed a single tear, sort of.
So, so the one stage that I think we've played that is maybe as big,
wider. It was probably wider.
Yeah, it was we played the Forum once, which was like,
oh man, really, that's my favorite venue in Melbourne. No, yeah, it's my favorite venue in Australia.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like
the elevator in that place is bigger than some of the stages we played. Most of the stages we played, just
it's like bigger than my bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this was like a totally different experience to that though, because there's something that's like, if you're like a festival stage, it's just so open. So it actually felt bigger than being in a room with a massive stage. So that was like, honestly, I was so scared. I was like overwhelmed. I got out there and I was like, nope, can't do this. So, but you know,
it was amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was like our coach kind of Telly basically just had to shove me out on the stage and like, go, like, get out there, people are waiting. But you know, as soon as you get out on stage, it's all good, you know. And I've always felt like, you know, as long as I've got my band to like back me up, I feel like I'm pretty confident, which is good. Yeah. But yeah, just such an incredible experience. Like it was so fun. Like we rarely get to play massive stages like that. And just the whole thing, it was like so legit, like, you know, the backstage crew and everything, they're like, here, you can use our like monitor thing like for my in-ears. And I was like, what? Like this has never happened before. I can just use gear. Like this is so cool. So it was just, the whole thing was just like so amazing. And the festival itself was just like incredible as well. One of like the funnest, I think, experiences overall that we've had as a band. Sorry to brag, but yeah, it was just amazing and such a cool experience. And we're so grateful for everyone who was there from the get-go. Like we had such an amazing crowd as well. Like so many people that were into it, and just like a lot of people there to watch us, which was amazing. Like it was just, I can't, like, it was just cool. There's no words to really express how I feel.
I think you guys were super fortunate with such a great spot on the bill, as well as you were opening up day one, and no one had been to a festival of that caliber for 2 years. So like, I'm not surprised that everybody was down there like flocking around you guys. Like I think everyone was just so happy to be there, and it sounds like you guys were too. Sorry, not you guys.
Opening spot is the best to play though, because it's like
the best. Like, it's like, you know, like ideally I think, you know, you want to be somewhere up on the bill eventually, you know, when you get there. But like for now, where we're at, we're like, put us first, baby. Let's get this done. Let's have a good time, and then let's just go party. Like, you know,
song on the EP that is the huge standout for me is Frenemies. It's probably one of my top 10 most played songs from the last like year and a half. I love the bit like at the end of I think it's the bridge where like, I don't know, it's just got this huge vocal run, and I sit in my car and I'm like, yeah, like pretending. But I want to ask you guys, like, Darcy, you first. What's your favorite song off the latest EP?
We have the same answer to this. Someone asked us recently.
Did we know we had different answers? Oh no, I don't know.
I think we had the same ones. It's like my favorite to listen to is Alive, because to me it's so like triumphant. And my favorite to play is Frenemies.
Amazing.
Because it's so like tough, and it's just like, it's very involved in the bass as well. There's like the bass break in the verse, and then in the bridge there's like a hidden bass run, and it's just like rhythm, and I love that. So yeah, Frenemies.
We actually have different answers.
Cassie, what's yours?
So my favorite is Fear, because that one, it was almost like, it was so easy to write for me. Like I sometimes get like pretty bad writer's block. And this one was like one night, sat down with the instrumental that CV had written. CV and the boys had written together, our producer. And just like that, it was written, and it was so cool. And I really had like a lot of ideas for backing vocals and everything. And so that was it was just an amazing experience to write it, like core memory kind of thing. So
it's also just a straight banger, like
thank you.
I think we all agree that's our strongest song off of the EP.
We all like collectively are like, this song is awesome.
What's the line? It's like something, punching holes in walls, it might as well be my bones. I was like, oh, how can I have such an emotional response to this but then want to like go and dance?
I know, right? Like I'm glad there's like those two sides to it. That's kind of cool. But that line in particular, like when I wrote that, I was like, oh, is this like, it really reflected how I was feeling, but I was like, this could be too much. But I was like, man, I'm just gonna like take a risk here, because it just
paid off.
It was, I think it was important to the song and the narrative and the emotion behind it. And even though it's a little bit of a confronting line, like I think that's part of why it's important to have in there. So that one's my favorite.
Last question. Who is taking, and I'm going to ask each of you, who's taking your number one vote for Fave 2021 song on the Hardest 100?
Oh my god.
I know you both just said you're really picky, but like, what was your favorite song released last year?
Oh, straight up, like I love Future Static's
Man, I can't get enough of that band. And I love that Amy came up and performed with you guys at Night and Day as well.
Oh my god, that was so cool, wasn't it? And she's just like amazing. And we got to do that cool harmony at the end together. I was like,
I was standing there with someone who's like really good friends with Amy, my friend Mitch Parry. And he was just standing there and he was like, Amy's about to come out, like hitting me. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see her. And then we just stood there and we're like, woohoo.
Yeah, oh my god, it was actually like so cool. And she's such an incredible vocalist and such a kind person as well. Like she's just so awesome.
I hope that band take over the world, honestly.
Yeah, they're killing it.
Monuments released some singles last year, which all go really hard. I still haven't listened to the Every Time I Die album, but I've heard that's really good. Viljahada album last year. Oh my gosh, amazing.
I don't listen to music.
But like in terms of Aussie boys, like any of the Deadlight songs, I'm the biggest.
Oh yeah,
I love.
Did they release last year?
Yeah, they released the whole album last year.
I'm more like
doesn't
pop.
listen to music.
No, okay. Someone that actually doesn't listen to music. No, I'm more pop than like heavier stuff. But I do think Deadlights are like actually so sick. I saw them recently with Polaris in where was it? Like somewhere out east.
Shows. Yeah.
And they were like, everyone killed it. Luna's like, they opened and they were like, Luna just
oh my
god, like right now, like, oh my god, absolutely killing it.
I would listen to them, but I think
you'd like them.
Yeah,
they're sick.
I genuinely think that Deadlights are kind of in their own little pocket right now, and nobody can touch them. They're their own band, and they're in the genre of a lot of other bands, but they have their own like. Yeah, I think they're really, really great. So Deadlights get the vote.
I would absolutely agree with that. And I'm super excited to see them in April at the What We Did on the Weekend fundraiser show.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would love to meet the Deadlights.
Completely fundraising for Beyond Blue. So get down if you can. All right.
Yeah.
Are there any live shows that we can look forward to from Terra?
We are playing Uncaged soon. It's been delayed once, as have all the like January festivals.
Yeah.
But that's coming up in March, and then we have some shows in April and May as well. But the next big one coming up is Uncaged.
I don't know if the other one's been announced yet.
There might be some shows.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, we'll be playing.
We'll make sure we get Uncaged plugged here, and hopefully anyone who can't make it to Unify can check you guys out at Uncaged Fest.
Yes, that'd be so fun.
Awesome. Well, guys, check out Reverie on all streaming platforms now. Get your votes in for Hardest 100. Chuck Arrows in there because it's a banger track. Also featuring Dan from Alt, who we love very, very much. Thank you so much, Cassie and Darcy, and I really hope I get to see you guys soon.
Yeah, thank
you,
you.
Lili.
Thanks
This
for
was
having
fun.
us.
Yeah.
Chat soon, guys.